since Star Wars first took the world by storm, George Lucas and now Disney have been taking advantage of its popularity by slapping the Star Wars name onto just about anything and everything. And in the case of video games, it's usually a good result. There have been dozens of Star Wars games since the movies first hit the big screen. For nearly 4 decades, Star Wars games of every genre have graced about every gaming platform available, from handheld to home consoles, even to arcade machines. The game library includes brawlers, flight sims, racers, RPGs, shooters, you name it. The expansive Star Wars universe has been covered by a video game in some capacity. Today we're here to take a look at the 10 very best Star Wars games of all time. Now, before we get into the list, I wanted to take a second to remind all of you that this is my own personal opinion based on my own personal experiences. And full disclosure, there are many Star Wars games that I have never gotten the chance to play. There are simply too many of them out there, especially some of the earlier PC games that I just can't get my hands on or can't get to run or just simply don't even know about. Anyway, guys, with that in mind, let's jump right in with number 10, Star Wars Force Commander. This is a real-time strategy game released on PC back in the year 2000. The game interweaves its story through the events of Episode 4 and Episode 6, sometimes intersecting with the known Star Wars canon. The campaign is pretty solid, but where the game really shines is in the multiplayer. In skirmish mode, you can play with up to 4 players as you try to conquer a planet. The game isn't the most complex RTS game by any means, and its lack of depth that other games offer, but it makes up for it with its Star Wars charm, making it a very solid title in the Star Wars franchise.
Sir, I am beginning my landing.
Number 9 goes to Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader, which was released in 2002 as a launch title for the Nintendo GameCube. Rogue Leader is a fast-paced flight action game, and when it first came out, people were blown away by how great it looked. The player can control 7 craft from the base game, including the X-Wing, A-Wing, Y-Wing, B-Wing, Snowspeeder, the T-16, the Skyhopper, and of course the Millennium Falcon. Being able to fly an X-Wing as Luke Skywalker or Wedge was a childhood dream of mine, and even though it was doable in previous games, this game, Rogue Leader, was the first time it felt real to me, and it was absolutely amazing. The game showed what the new hardware was capable of and took the series to a new level. There was a third game also released on the GameCube, but my favorite is still Rogue Leader. It is a must-play for any Star Wars fan.
How can we help?
ATSTs are heading toward the Ion.
Coming in at number 8 is Super Star Wars on the Super Nintendo, which was released in 1992 and released on the Virtual Console in 2009, and most recently on the PS4 in 2015. It is the Super Nintendo equivalent of the Super Star Wars NES game. Super Star Wars features mostly run-and-gun style gameplay, although it has stages in which the other challenges, such as driving a land speeder or piloting an X-Wing. It also features multiple playable characters with different abilities. The game was a major step forward from the NES version of Star Wars games, and it still looks pretty good today. It generally follows the plot of Star Wars, the original movies, although some allowances were made to adapt the story to suit the action game. For example, instead of simply buying C-3PO and R2-D2 from the Jawas, Luke must fight his way to the top and steal them from them. However, the best part of this game has to be the Death Star trench run at the end, as it really shows off the power of the 32-bit system over the earlier NES. There are 2 sequels on the Super Nintendo as well for the other 2 original movies. And they're also great, but the first one was always my favorite, so I would say start out with this one. Next up at number 7 is LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, which was released in 2007 on multiple systems, including the Xbox 360, PS3, Wii, and PC. It combines the 2 previous LEGO Star Wars titles into a single disc that is filled to the brim with fun content. Now, you may be skeptical of a LEGO game, but they are actually incredibly well done. Each key scene from the movie is charmingly brought to life in block form, and it's packed full of unlockables, perfect for on-the-couch multiplayer with younger siblings, or if you just have someone getting new into gaming. If you're looking to have some quick fun that's easy to jump into and sticks to the canon pretty well, this may be the game for you. Number 6 goes to the original Star Wars Arcade, arguably the most influential game on this entire list. Atari's vector-based take on the Star Wars universe was revolutionary in its day, and it may seem lame by today's standards, but back in 1983, I swear this thing must have blown people's minds. Fast-paced gameplay with actual digitized voices from the people in the game must have gave gamers chills the first time they heard it. Its Death Star trench run set the standard for on-rail shooters in the arcade for many years to come, as well as setting the standard for X-Wing flight sims in the future. It's definitely still worth playing today if you are lucky enough to track one down. Make sure to pop a few cores in it and give it a go. Just cracking our top 5 is TIE Fighter, which was considered by many to be one of the best PC flight sim games of all time. It was released in 1994 and it's sequel to the 1993's Star Wars X-Wing. However, the twist on this game in TIE Fighter is that you play as an Imperial pilot, and the storyline is incredible. It painting the Empire as those who are upholding law and order, not as villains. And this changed everything. This change in perspective was something very new for a Star Wars game at the time. It was executed very well. Then there's the gameplay, which was next level good, especially when you play with the proper flight stick setup. The graphics were also top notch for the time and don't look all that bad by today's standards if you just consider what time period this game is coming from. If you guys can track out a copy and a PC that can properly run it and a flight stick that works with it, I highly recommend giving this one a try. Coming in at number 4 is the recent Star Wars Battlefront made by DICE and released on the Xbox One, PS4, and PC in 2015. This game is by far the most beautiful looking game I've ever played. The way it brought the Star Wars universe to life is simply stunning. The visuals and audio is enough to actually convince the player that they are in a real-life battle on a planet far, far away. They've also introduced a new VR experience for this, which I have not gotten to play, but I've heard amazing things about. The only thing keeping this game from being our number 1 is that it does have its downfalls. Lack of a single-player campaign was a major letdown to fans, as well as not having space battles. Couple that with a lack of depth of weapons, game modes, and maps at launch, and the game that had so much potential was kind of forgotten in a hurry. DICE has recently released numerous DLC packs that include Death Star maps, The Force Awakens, and Rogue One content, but it seems to be too little too late for most gamers, as Battlefront player base has become a fraction of other more popular shooters. Number 3 goes to Star Wars The Force Unleashed, which was released in 2008 on Xbox 360, PS3, Wii, and PC. And it is an action-adventure game that is an origin story for both of the United Rebel Alliance and the Galactic Civil War, depicted in the original trilogy. The game introduces a new protagonist named Star Killer as Darth Vader's secret apprentice, who is tasked with hunting down Jedi while killing rebels and Imperials alike in order to hide his existence from the Empire. But as soon as it starts to slowly redeem himself to the light side of the Force, the game has a great combat system that is fast-paced and both intuitive. Developers intended it to be easy to learn how to play this game even for novice players. Players can choose between a run and gun style and take out hordes of bad guys, or they can go a more stealth route and sneak their way to victory. The game is set between The Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, and the plot sheds some light on events between the movies. Overall, this game and its sequel are pretty solid games and should be played by all Star Wars fans. In our runner-up spot is Star Wars Battlefront 2, which came out on the PS2, original Xbox, and PC in 2005, and is wildly considered to be the best Star Wars shooter of all time. It featured an in-depth campaign that was well written and fit into the Star Wars universe completely awesomely. But where the game really stood out is the multiplayer modes. Like Galactic Conquest, where the player commands a fleet throughout the galaxy, conquering and protecting planets, much like a game of Risk. It also featured a robust online multiplayer mode, especially on the Xbox and PC. In fact, fans managed to keep the servers for this game up and running even after the original Xbox servers were taken down. The biggest reason that fans still prefer this game over the new one on the Xbox One and PS4 is the space battles. Space battles were insanely fun, and I still don't understand why they weren't a part of the new Battlefront. Anyway, this is most definitely the definitive Battlefront game, so make sure you guys give this one a try. And finally, our number one best Star Wars game ever goes to Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Made by BioWare, this game is a perfect mesh of RPG elements, combat, and amazing universe all wrapped into one amazing game experience. The game has it all, from training up to be a Jedi into letting you explore key locations from the Star Wars universe. And it did so without ever feeling like it compromised either the Star Wars universe or any gameplay in general. On top of that, the storyline is also incredible and really draws players into its vast and deep tale. Though it was first released on the original Xbox, it is now easily playable on PC and Mac and all our major mobile platforms. So there's no excuse not to dive into this classic RPG and get yourself going on it. So there you guys have it. That is my top 10 Star Wars games of all time. And I'm sure many of you think I missed a game or messed up the list order. And that's perfectly fine. Just leave a comment down below with what you thought should be on the list or how you would put them in order. Also, guys, make sure to hit that like button. It would be greatly appreciated if you guys could do that. Let's try to hit 500 likes. Subscribe for more gaming and Star Wars content coming your way. But until next time, guys, remember that's always K-Mac time somewhere. Until then, take it easy and peace out.